locked the door immediately and ran straight to David's house. He told David everything. David's heart sank. They both went to meet Ifeanyi, and Obiora explained what had happened. Ifeanyi listened quietly. Then he asked one question. "You slept with Keziah?" They both answered yes. "And it was the night you slept with her that this thing happened?" Again they both answered yes. That was when it hit them. Keziah was the source of their wealth. David finally gathered courage and began spending his money. He opened a large carpentry shop. He bought a new car and built a house. Obiora opened a supermarket bigger than Ifeanyi's own shop. He also bought a car and he built a house. When Ifeanyi saw how successful his friends had become, jealousy entered his heart. "I must sleep with Keziah too," he said. David and Obiora laughed. "No be you talk say she no be your spec?" Ifeanyi replied bitterly. "Precious is my spec. What has she done for me?" In his mind, he added, "After all, una talk say she no dey form, she be free giver." But Keziah did not like Ifeanyi. She had noticed how rude he was to her, how he treated her like she was beneath him. She also knew he was openly dating Precious, and Precious was known for trouble. Keziah did not want drama. She was surprised, but she accepted them. One doesn't reject free gifts, she told herself. Eventually, Ifeanyi told her he liked her. Keziah snapped. She told him clearly that she knew he never liked her before, that he was dating Precious, and that she did not want trouble. Ifeanyi was angry, but he refused to give up. That night, a new thought entered his head. What if I marry her? If I marry her, all the riches will be mine. Ifeanyi went ahead with his plan. He broke up with Precious. He told her he no longer loved her, and how he now loves Keziah. When he told her this, she laughed at first, thinking he was joking. Then she realized he was serious. "Ha! Wait oh," she said angrily. "You are leaving me for Keziah." That same day, Precious went straight to Keziah's house. She warned him to stay away from her boyfriend. She insulted her and embarrassed her openly. Keziah hated humiliation. As if that wasn't enough, the next evening, Ifeanyi came to her grandmother's house with his kingsmen to ask for her hand in marriage. Keziah was shocked at his audacity. When they left, Keziah made it clear to her grandmother that she could never marry that man. Her grandmother listened calmly and told her it is important that a woman marries a man she loves, a man she believes will satisfy her. Keziah agreed immediately, but Ifeanyi was not ready to accept rejection. When he realized nothing was working, not money, not gift, not marriage, a dark thought entered his mind. If I force myself on her, I will still get the riches, he said to himself. I must get this wealth. One evening, Ifeanyi monitored her movement. When Keziah was returning home through a quiet bush path, he attacked her. He wore a mask. He did what he planned to do. He forced himself on her and ran away. Keziah was broken. She was in pain, confused, traumatized. She went home crying and told her grandmother everything. Her grandmother listened quietly, then laughed. Don't worry, she said. The gods will punish him. That night, Ifeanyi returned home, feeling victorious. In his mind, he had finally won. His house was big. If riches filled David and Obiora's small one-room apartment, then his own will be 10 times bigger. He barely slept that night, waiting for morning. But instead of riches, he woke up to a loud banging on his gate. Ifeanyi, your shop is on fire! Come out quickly! Confused and scared, he rushed into his car and drove towards the shop. On his way, his car suddenly developed a fault. He lost control and crashed into a wall. He did not die, but the car was destroyed. People gathered and pulled him out. Still confused, Ifeanyi ran towards his shop. By the time he got there, the entire place had burnt to the ground. Everything was gone. As he collapsed to the ground, someone shouted, Ifeanyi, your house is on fire! That was the last thing he heard before he fainted. He was rushed to the hospital. When he regained consciousness, David and Obiora were by his side. The first thing Ifeanyi asked was, after you slept with Keziah, you became rich, right? They both answered, yes. Ifeanyi screamed, then why is my own different? I slept with her yesterday. Today I've lost everything. I am now poor. Everything I worked for is gone. He discharged himself from the hospital immediately. Together with David and Obiora, he went straight to Keziah's house. As soon as he arrived, he started shouting, Keziah, what have you done to me? Keziah and her grandmother came out. Ifeanyi continued angrily, David slept with you, he became rich. Obiora slept with you, he became rich. I slept with you, and now everything I own is gone. Keziah looked at him in shock. But I never slept with you, she said. Then it hit her. She screamed and held him. Mama, it was him. He was the one. Her grandmother laughed and then she spoke. Myself, Keziah, and Keziah's mother have a special gift. Everyone went silent. If a man sleeps with any woman from this family and she enjoys it, that man will discover great riches. But if she does not enjoy it, that man will suffer. David and Obiora stood frozen. That is why every woman in this family is allowed to marry a man she loves. The grandmother continued. We do not force marriage. We do not pressure our daughters. That is also why I warn Keziah against being with random men. She turns to Keziah. Once you discover this gift, it stops working. Keziah broke down crying. So my gift is gone? She asked. No wonder men were always around me. Her grandmother nodded. This gift was meant only for your husband, so that both of you would benefit together. But you gave it away to random men. She then turned to David and Obiora. The two of you are shameless friends who slept with the same woman. David and Obiora were shocked but ashamed. Ifeanyi, still on the ground, asked with a trembling voice, So what about me? Why is my own different? The grandmother looked at him and laughed. If you sleep with her and she does not enjoy it, you will become a poor and wretched man. The same way these two became rich overnight is the same way you become poor overnight. She paused and added, You were foolish enough to force yourself on her. Ifeanyi collapsed and cried openly. David turned to him in disbelief. Wait, you forced yourself on her? The grandmother raised her voice. David, Obiora, if either of you uses your wealth to help this man, you will become like him. Ifeanyi screamed, I am finished. My friends can't even help me. Ifeanyi said. Keziah on the other end was crying uncontrollably. David and Obiora looked at each other. Out of guilt and gratitude, they decided to help Keziah instead. They opened a clothing business for her. They built her a house. They bought her a car. That was their way of saying thank you. Ifeanyi never recovered. Everything he tried after failed. He remained poor till today. Months later, Ifeanyi was no longer the man people feared or respected. His shop was gone. His house was gone. His car was gone. Everything he tried after that failed. Any business he started collapsed. Any job he touched scattered. Even small things refused to work for him. He now spent most of his days in a broken wooden bench near the roadside, watching people pass. One evening, a black car slowed down in front of him. David was behind the wheel and Obiora was in the passenger seat. They were dressed clean and confident. Their businesses were flourishing. People greeted them with respect. Ifeanyi stood up slowly and raised his hands. David, Obiora! The car slowed, but it did not stop. David looked at him, Obiora looked away, and the car drove on. Ifeanyi stood there, watching the dust rise behind them until the sound of the engine disappeared. That was when it fully sank in. Everything he forced, he lost. Everything he thought